So, I'm no longer a slave to fear, for I am a child of God. I am a child of God. You know, we can declare things at times, and I think we declared that again this morning really, really well. Yeah. Just turn to the person next to you and say, you are a child of God. You are a child of God. Now point to your own heart. Point to you, put your hand on your heart and say, I am a child of God. I am a child of God. I don't know, it's a pretty powerful statement when you think about it. That's me. I'm not talking about anyone else. When you're talking about I, it's you. I am. Irrefutably. There is no nonsense about the word am. You are or you aren't, but you am. I am a. Individually. Uniquely. When God made you, He broke the mold, you are a. One of you. Of 7 billion people in this world, those who ever have lived and those who ever will live, you are a individual. Child. Child. You've been created wonderfully in your mother's womb. You're a child. And He said that we do not enter heaven unless we have basically the heart of a child. Child. Of speaks of who. Of. I am a child of. No other but God. God. Who created the heavens and the earth. I am a child of God. I'll tell you what, if you could get out of bed every morning and make that the first words that come out of your mouth, that would set your day up. Because it speaks identity. It speaks identity. You know what, I'm going to talk a little bit about the other aspect of that song today. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I'm going to be talking about, actually, I'm going to bang up a slide there. We've got a couple of slides to sort of help you think what I'm talking about. Our fear can disqualify us, it can cripple us. Fear, the mistakes of your past, your weakness, all these things can seek to stop us from entering into the fullness of what God wants for us. Stop us from entering into who we are, can stop us to step into the works that He's called us to do. The sense of being unqualified. And when they find that, it's on a, you got it?
1 minute.
It's on a really good stick that I stuck on the side of that computer. And so, here we go. It's coming.
Sorry, just a second.
Not that. Sense of being unqualified. How often have we thought, you know, now here's the bloke. Here's the question, are you qualified? This dude here is, he's obviously graduated. And he's feeling very qualified, very confident. How often do we feel like that when it comes to entering into the things of God? I don't know whether you get that thing any bigger or not.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to...
How often do we feel that confident when God calls us to do something that is a little outside of our comfort zone? I can't say that there's been a heck of a lot of times when I've been called to do something different that I've actually presented myself like that. No. And I think about my journey in my life, and so when I left school, I went to Marsden and I learned wool classing. And I was only a very young guy, and then I had to go out to shearing sheds. Once I got my certificate, I had to go out to shearing sheds, and I had to prepare and present a wool grower's clip for sale. And most of you are probably not that familiar with what that involves, but it involves sorting out the entire clip, and it can be thousands of sheep, fleece by fleece into certain grades, and preparing those fleeces, skirting off the pieces, make sure all the stains removed, all that stuff. Some of you know that. Some of you are aware of this process. So it's a very responsible position because the grower depends on you, the wool classer, to do a good job in order for his income to be secure. And so the pressure was on you to make sure that the job was done well. In order to do that, you had to work with a team. And usually you're dealing with shearers. In my case, shearers that have been in the industry for a long, long time. And in a lot of cases, rouseabouts or shed hands that have been in the industry for a long, long time. And I was only the age of 19 or 20 when I went into my first shearing shed. And I had to organise this wool clip. And I had shearers in there that had been around the game for a long time. And rouseabouts that had been in the game for a long time. One of the lecturers at the college I went to, he said, when you're a wool classer, he said, you've got to learn to be a man among men. And I found that to be very, very true. And so in order to get some sort of credibility or authority in that environment is very, very challenging. And so you had to be pretty resourceful, and you had to carry your authority without a great deal of power. Now, I think in the sense of you can have all sorts of authority, but if you've got no power, it's very, very hard to carry that out. If you can imagine a policeman walking into a big fracas, he can have all sorts of authority, but if he hasn't got a gun, he's probably not going to have a lot of power. So, needless to say, I felt unqualified going into that situation. It took a while to actually establish how I could relate to these men. Then my father and I started a Paul Dorset stud, breeding stud rams. And this was all the whole time I was wool classing, mind you. And so we entered into an industry that, and we were mixing with guys that had been breeding rams for generations, and had all sorts of networks established with breeding and sales and marketing and shows and all sorts of stuff. And we were new on the block. And so again, I guess I felt somewhat unqualified. And except for the vision that we had concerning what we wanted to breed, we would have probably felt reasonably insecure in who we are in that situation. And then when I stepped into vineyards, and I had to develop and manage vineyards, I'd never grown a vine in my life. And once again, I feel unqualified. And so when I think about my whole life's journey, I haven't probably just written new chapters in a lot of situations, I've been entire new books. And in each situation I've been confronted with, I felt probably unqualified. And if I wanted to go down a path of fear, it would have crippled me in a lot of situations. And so we've got to start to consider what God's idea of qualifying is compared to what the world's is. Where's the next slide, guys? Because all too often, we can feel a bit like this. When we start looking at or considering what the world might consider is acceptable, how many people feel like this? The world has a particular model of what it thinks is necessary for you to be qualified, doesn't it? To be acceptable. And all too often, we can be left feeling worthless, powerless, not fitting an acceptable mould. And so when it comes to us stepping out and taking a risk, usually we like to have everything lined up. We like our ducks in a line, don't we? Everything, the risk factor is taken care of. We have backup plans, we have all these things that will guarantee a success. And that's fine, it's absolutely fine to plan, and it's necessary to plan. I'm not saying you don't plan. But if we let fear get in the road, if we let the thought or fears of our own previous mistakes and our qualifications sometimes, we won't even take the first step. And so at the end of the day, I think, well, you know, what qualified me to start these things in the first place? Really nothing, except for the fact that I felt that God was calling me into it. And so He became my security. And I know every day when we went out to the vineyard, when I first started that job, I'd go to God and say, God, you've got to be with me in this. You've got to give me creative ideas. You've got to help me through this. You need to show me the people that I need to help me and point me in the right direction so that I can do this job well. And He did. And so I stayed in that industry for 24 years, developing vineyards, managing vineyards, running a company. I had over 6 years when I started the management company, I had 300 people, employees, go through my books. And so I had to learn very, very quickly. But you see, you need to remember that there's a God factor in this whole idea of what does it mean to be qualified. And basically, I believe that if the gates of hell won't stop Christ building His church, your and my weakness is not even going to factor into His thinking. Your and my weakness is not going to stop God building His church. And that's what I want to talk about. We think about a lot of characters in the Bible and their qualifications. And MEL, you think a little bit about Moses. He said, I can't lead these people, I'm a stutterer. Gideon said, I'm the least of my family, and my family is the least of the tribes. How can I be expected to lead the Israelites in victory against the Midianites? Jacob. We'll talk about Jacob a little bit later. Joseph. He had a few personality issues, didn't he? And the disciples, they all had shortcomings. We've all got shortcomings. We all have weaknesses somewhere. Somewhere, at some stage in our life, a weakness is going to come up and it's going to threaten to stop us from stepping into that thing which God has called us to do. And so the question today is, what do we do with weaknesses? What do we do with them? Do we just live with our weaknesses? Do we deny our weaknesses? Do we pray about them and just get ministry for our weaknesses? Or do we fix them? What do we do with our weaknesses? There's a bit of an upside down gospel. Oh, slide 3. Maybe go to slide 3. Fact is, if we consider our weaknesses and we think we're disqualified, I can tell you for sure that your calling is surer now than it ever was, if you're aware of the weaknesses. Thing is, our weaknesses tend, if we think about our weaknesses, then they would tend to rein us back, hold us back from those things that we're to step into. But God, He has a good way of turning things on their head. And there's an upside down gospel which we serve. So He turns the weak into strength. He uses the simple to confound the wise. And so, you know what? If we can actually get this, if we can actually get the fact that God can work through your weaknesses, then it's going to revolutionise your thinking and your perspective. It'll actually release you into destiny that you've not actually even yet dared to dream, if your weaknesses don't get in the road. So back to the question, so what do we do with them? Do we simply embrace who we are with our shortcomings and our mistakes? You know, we can make a fairly solid biblical case for embracing our weaknesses, can't. You know, I'm just a humble person. You know, God's still got some work to do in me yet. You know, we can make excuses for our lost condition. We can say we have a greater need for God. We can say all those things, but what it actually does, it sells short God's transforming power and sentences us to a life trapped in our present weak condition. You know what? We're not helpless, pitiful victims. We're actually more than conquerors in Christ. And so, why don't you say to your neighbour, you're not a helpless victim. You are not a helpless victim. You are more than a conqueror in Christ. Say to yourself, I am not a helpless victim. I am more than a conqueror in Christ. Make that declaration. Or secondly, we replace our weaknesses with strengths. You know, let God fix us, transform and change us. You know, perhaps we'll do that. Struggle and fight against our flaws to fix ourselves. What that does is reduce our Christian walk to some sort of a self-help program. And a lifetime of disappointment, because at the end of the day, there's very little we can do often to change ourselves and our weaknesses. We can't actually fix anything without God stepping in. And there's a reason for that. Let's go to slide 4. Let's just consider Paul for a moment. Paul's thorn in the flesh. Paul's thorn in his flesh obviously obstructed his ministry. He went to God something like 3 times to get it removed. And I think probably if I had a thorn in my flesh, then that's exactly what I'd be wanting to do, get that thing removed. And so 3 times he went to him, and 3 times he got the same answer. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Probably not the answer that I would have wanted to hear, and certainly probably not the answer I'd imagine that Paul wanted to hear. I think I would have rather God come and say, hey, I'm glad you alerted me to that. I'm right on. I'll get rid of that thing and you'll be good to go. It's not what he did. It's not what he did. After all, don't you think that we'd be better use for him if we were perfected? Think about it. If you were perfected, wouldn't that be you'd be a better tool in God's hand if you were perfected? Your weaknesses are all gone? Not necessarily. In fact, no. Sorry, folks. You're not going to be better for God if you're perfected. Because of this. What does it mean to be qualified God's way? It's not about replacing or getting rid of weaknesses. It's not about replacing or getting rid of the previous mistakes that you've made. It's not about getting more qualified. It's about being strong in and through and because of weakness. Weak and strong at the same time. Weak and strong at the same time. Slide 5. Being who you are is actually the solution. Your weaknesses become strengths in God. I remember when we went to India on our last trip, and we had this amazing women's conference with 380 ladies plus blokes and pastors all there. And we got to the end of the day, and something amazing actually happened. The whole day was amazing, but this thing happened. What happened was Suzanne felt that God was calling her to sing this song. And I don't know if you know Suzanne well enough to know that she would not say that she's called to sing. And she said, I feel that God's calling me to sing this song. And I thought, man, that's brave. Because she had no music. there was nothing to accompany her with this song. But she stood up and she started singing this song to the best of her ability. And I was thinking to myself, standing on the side, thinking, man, what are you doing with this, God? Because I would have shrunk into the floor. And she started singing, and there's just an amazing presence of God fell in the room. And I thought, wow. And all these ladies, they started crying, and some of them were crying, some were laughing. There's all this stuff going on. And Helen, who was alongside Suzanne, she said, keep going, keep going. And Suzanne at that stage was thinking, I'd like to stop. But I thought, Suzanne's greatest gift's not singing. Probably, out of everything she does, it's probably one of the things that would be weakest in her, whatever she would do. But she stood up and she sang, and God moved. And that to me was just an amazing lesson of how God, if we allow Him to work through what would probably be our weakness, can perform amazing, powerful miracles. I'm not saying that there's no need to change and there's no need to get qualifications, because let's face it, if you're here today, I'm not going to allow you to perform brain surgery on me tomorrow if you haven't got a qualification. And I'm not condoning sin either, because some people might get weakness mixed up with sin. Two different things in this context. God can, once we repent of sin, God can work through that. There's no worries about that. And He can do with powerful testimony, but we can't use this as a reason to stay in sin. We always have that need to confess and repent and turn, obviously. So I'm not condoning sin in this situation. God can turn your past mistakes into a powerful truth for now and into the future. But let's not stay where we are. There is a need for us to go and grow and change. But I think sometimes we use our weakness and our mistakes as an excuse to stay where we are at times. And that's what this is about. The other thing is we get tempted to work purely in our strengths. And I think, well, that's fine. But what I've found is if we work continually in our strengths, then suddenly it starts to become more about us. It starts to become more about performance. And so when we do that, then the glory is taken away from God, where it belongs. And so don't get trapped in just working in your strengths. There's working in your weakness brings a humility about it. And then there's such power in humility. I talked a bit about that a couple of weeks ago. And so we work in our weaknesses. We know that God has to come through to turn it according to His good purposes, don't we? So if we work in our strengths all the time, then we can get fairly comfortable in that. And we'll resort often back to that thing which is familiar strongly, rather than stepping into the things which are more of our destiny. Your weakness can be God's secret weapon. Have you thought about that? I think that the devil probably has a bit of an idea that he'll focus on those things which are highly visible targets. And we've seen highly visible targets in the media coming down in a crash because they've been tempted and they've fallen. I don't know that the devil actually looks at people working in their weakness as being any great threat to him. I think that, I'll just read you this thing. You've probably heard this before. But this is from the Jordan Management Consultant Company. When Jesus was looking for, he submitted the resumes of his disciples. And this is a response that he got. To Jesus, son of Joseph, Woodcrafters Carpenter Shop, Nazareth, 25922. From Jordan Management Consultants. Dear Sir, thank you for submitting the resumes of the 12 men you have picked for managerial positions in your new organisation. All of them have now taken our battery of tests, and we've not only run the results through our computer, but also arranged personal interviews for each of them with our psychologist and vocational aptitude consultant. The profiles of all tests are included, and you will want to study each of them carefully. As part of our service, we make some general comments for your guidance, much as an auditor will include some general statements. This is given as a result of staff consultation and comes without any additional fee. Very generous. It is the staff opinion that most of your nominees are lacking in background, education and vocational aptitude for the type of enterprise you're undertaking. They do not have the team concept. We would recommend that you continue your search for persons of experience and managerial ability and proven capability. Simon Peter is emotionally unstable and given the fits of temper. Andrew has absolutely no qualities of leadership. The two brothers James and John, the sons of Zebedee, place personal interest above company loyalty. Thomas demonstrates a questioning aptitude that would tend to undermine morale. We feel that it is our duty to tell you that Matthew had been blacklisted by the Greater Jerusalem Better Business Bureau. James, the son of Alphaeus, and Thaddeus definitely have radical leanings, and they both registered a high score for the manic depressive scale. One of the candidates, however, shows great potential. He's a man of ability and resourcefulness, meets people well, has a keen business mind and has contacts in high places. He's highly motivated, ambitious and responsible. We recommend Judas Iscariot as your controller and right-hand man. All of the other profiles are self-explanatory. We wish you every success in your new venture. Sincerely, Jordan Management Consultants. Every one of those disciples, bar one, in their opinion, was unqualified to undertake the work that Jesus had for them to do. And there was one that operated in his strengths. What does that tell us? What does that tell us? So Paul says in 2 Corinthians 4:7, we have this treasure in jars of clay to show this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. A non-distracting container. Our weakness is its strength. So you know what? We're not to take on the glory ourselves. But if we can be that non-attracting container, that jar of clay, then the thing that's important is in here. And guess what? It was God that put that in here in the first place. And so he's looking to draw something out of us that we haven't got the ability to draw out really ourselves. What about Jesus himself? When I think about displaying weakness, Jesus, who had all power, basically chose a path of weakness. When he went before Pilate to even argue for himself, he could have called down a multitude of angels to get him off that cross. He chose the path of the servant, of humility, and he went to the cross without an argument. I think again he flew under the devil's radar. And I'm pretty sure that if the devil knew that what he was about to do, he got tricked. He would have probably done everything he could have possibly done to stop him dying on that cross that day. How does weakness disarm the devil? How does weakness distract him? Because he's looking for power encounters. That's how he likes to operate. Weakness, operating out of weakness also can make us more authentic when it comes to relating to other people that are struggling with a weakness themselves or struggling with something of hurt. If we come with all the answers all of the time, then how do we relate? How do we have empathy for that person? And so operating out of our weakness can actually open up the door for communication to be able to help someone that's actually suffering the same or suffering a similar problem. So it can make us more relatable. We had good friends stay with us just this last week, and I'll share this story without any names. 15 years ago, they had a terrible, these guys had a terrible situation happen. They had a little 18-month-old girl, and the mum, she was getting ready to go out. She put the little 18-year-old girl in her car, and she forgot a handbag. And they were out on the farm. So she shot back into the house to get a handbag. And when she came out, she found that the car had burst into flames. And she watched her little girl get incinerated. I can't tell you what that did. She only just mentioned that little girl's name for the first time this week. The whole community rallied around her. They were just totally devastated, as you can imagine. If you've ever thought of yourself as a victim, put yourself in this situation. She blamed herself. She just said this week, she said, the only thing that got me through, she said, I was going to God saying, what do I do with this? She's, as you can imagine, I can't even describe it, I can't even imagine what that would feel like. And God said, I want you to be thankful. She said, how can I be thankful? How can I be thankful in a situation? He said, I just want you to start writing down the stuff you can be thankful for. Well, how hard is that? But she said, I started writing down things that I could be thankful for, even in the midst of that situation. And she said, I could write out pages of stuff. And so God very effectively took her mind off of her tragic situation and put it into a heart of thankfulness for other things. She said, that was the only thing that pulled me through. And so when Paul says, be thankful in all your circumstances, it's true. You cannot stay depressed and anxious if you choose a path of thankfulness. You cannot. And out of that vulnerability, out of that hurt and that pain, they went on to pastor a church. And I thought, what does that take? Except for God, that would work through that situation to turn what was a lot of people that would have destroyed forever. The power that there is in choosing the path of thankfulness. How God can turn your weakness to strength, weak and strong at the same time. You don't have to get rid of weakness. You don't have to. You work out God can work through it. Destiny can be on the other side of your fear. Slide 6. That's just a great statement, you know. God chooses to work through your weakness. That's what He prefers to do. Destiny can be on the other side of your fear. We cannot fulfill our dreams without confronting our fear and then stepping out, can we? Because I always believe that the greatest destinies take a step of faith. We don't just walk into our destiny, do we? When you think about your greatest dreams, there's always something with fear you're going to get through to get there. You don't just waltz into a great destiny. Not a great destiny. Not in God. You know, it's your dream. So if you can be convicted that it's your dream that God's given you, then you go for it with everything that you've got. And you don't let anything get in your road, particularly fear, because that's the realm that the devil likes to operate in. He'll hold you there. And that's why I love that song. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. The Israelis wandered around the desert for 40 years. They had a destiny, but their fear got the road. Well, let's not be like those guys, running around the desert for 40 years because we're too afraid to confront something that God has said you've got victory over that thing because I'm with you. Jacob. Just consider, we're just going to start to wind this up. Jacob, if you don't mind, Vic, that'd be great. His life from birth, he was a hill grabber, wasn't he? And then he became the pretender. He pretended to be his brother, a deceiver. He didn't have a great history, poor old Jacob. And then his father-in-law played the same tricks back on him that he was playing. He got deceived, tricked. And then Jacob ends up going back and he thinks, I've got to confront my brother Esau. And Jacob goes to he has a struggle with the angel of the Lord, doesn't he? And he says, I'm not going to let you go until you bless me. I'm not going to let you go. And then God said, I'm no longer going to call you Jacob. I'm going to call you Israel. You're no longer the pretender, the hill grabber, the deceiver. I'm going to call you Israel. But there's a little thing here. God spoke to Moses at the burning bush, didn't he? And he said, Moses said to him, how am I going to tell the people who sent me? Who do I say who sent me? What did God say? He said, tell them that I'm the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. He didn't say I'm the God of Israel. He said I'm the God of Jacob. Moses, you need to understand that I'm every bit as much the God of your weakness as I am of your strength. I'm the God of Jacob. And he referred to Jacob in future Bible tracts. Probably also he did refer to him as being the God of Israel. And so he's saying today, you know, I'm not ashamed of Jacob. And he's not ashamed of you. He's not ashamed of I either. He wants you to know that he's as much the God of your successes as he is of your failures. He's as much the God of your mistakes. He's the God of your weakness as much as he is as your strength. He's the God of our shortcomings. So what's he saying? Trust me and watch me turn your weaknesses into strengths. I'd like us just to stand and sing. We're going to sing I'm no longer a slave